When you look ahead into your crystal ball 2, 3, 4 years out from now, how do you think founding and leading a company like yours is going to change throughout the balance of the decade?
Change in terms of the company changing, or changing myself, or sorry?
In terms of what it takes to lead and grow a company like yours, do you think the day-to-day routine is going to change much? Do you think the environment's going to change much? How to recruit the right team members, how to raise capital, how to make all of this happen?
Sure. No, absolutely. And it's going from we're very lucky because we made a key hire recently, or relatively recently, a woman named Eva Ruben, who is our COO. She basically comes from she was CEO of KPMG in Sweden. She also has been part of industrial transformation projects. So like us, she's quite used to looking at business models from the outside in and seeing how you might potentially optimize them. But the big difference between the current or initial co-founders, David Malmström, Yashar Buchholz, and Simon Angeloff, and myself, we're all four in our own ways very entrepreneurial and driven. But at the same time, you need to marry this with transitioning the company into also a very process-driven company. And that transition is not always easy. And that's what's fantastic about having Eva come on board, because we've spoken quite a bit about what kind of culture do we want and how to implement this with the new hires that we're bringing in successively.
So that key hire around leading operations, you think, is the key to really being able to get from where you are to the next level with multiple locations and continuing to grow beyond where you are right now?
I'm definitely not a billionaire. I don't think I ever will be a billionaire, and I don't think it's definitely not a huge driver of mine. My two huge drivers are how many megawatts of heat can we provide to cities, and how many jobs can we create around our ecosystem. Those are my two big drivers. But what someone said about billionaires is generally they go the other way. When everyone goes one way, they go the other way, and they get it right, and that's why they become billionaires. Now, I'm a bit hesitant to use the word billionaire, but like highly successful people, let's put it that way. And I think that what's important is when you're looking at trying a business model that you are always open to being disruptive, because if you're going to do everything the same way, you found the magic formula and you're just going to keep replicating that. There's a high risk that people much better than you, using AI much better than you, or just smarter than you, will run past you. So I think any kind of business will need to reinvent itself more and more rapidly than ever before.
So in this particular case, you're seeing that there's a really big need to rethink a lot of aspects of the business model of being a data center developer or being a wholesale data center provider.
I mean,
data center operator.
I think with the amount of, the moat in terms of being a very high credibility, high trust industry, on top of how quickly it's ramping up, I think it's going to be very hard for me to see that a data center company that's properly up and running won't keep having success, with the one caveat: if you don't start looking at how you can be more sustainable, how you can be more of a benefit to the local area, at some point, what has already happened in Sweden, which I'm sure will happen in the US. In Sweden, there is already a very tight dialogue between the politicians, the allocators of power, and the general business community. And they're very reluctant to allocate power to something they don't see as beneficial for the local area. And I'm 100%. I'm already kind of seeing some little bubbles of it popping up on the US, LinkedIn posts, US-based LinkedIn posts, and I'm sure that will just accelerate, because if our economy is going to go more electrical, and you have these big bunkers sourcing all the excess power and being able to pay the most for it, by the way, so they're going to be the darlings of the utilities. There will be some kind of backlash if you don't have that built into your model at some point. How to be proactive around the local community, what kind of benefits you're bringing. And it's not just sponsoring the local high school football team or something like that.
I think in the US, there's a general recognition that the power grid is badly in need of upgrades in certain specific areas. Nothing more crazy to think about that Texas, where Dallas is one of the primary markets in the US, and just not 2 winters ago, a couple of bad weeks of cold weather brought the grid to its knees. So yeah, I think there's the challenge too is there's so many different dozens of utility companies throughout the US that they have to figure the national versus state regulatory issues and party issues and everything that comes up. But yeah, for sure, they're gonna have to figure that out.
And also, I think at the end of the day, what we're noticing is we were able to attract the caliber of people we got initially as our data center lead, power lead, and district heating lead because of our green vision. And I'm 100% confident if you're trying to recruit from the cohorts of people coming into the workplace from below, if you don't have some kind of actually genuine view about trying to do this better and to do things differently than before, you're going to have more and more, you're going to miss out on the best people because they're going to choose the companies that's more cater to that messaging and are true to that messaging. And another thing that we're embracing or trying to embrace is we're trying to be the most balanced ICT company in the world. Our goal is to be 50-50 male, female. And it's just on the back of having a different perspective. I strongly, strongly believe a very famous company builder in Sweden, Percy Barnevik, said, I really don't want 3 managers who are all middle-aged, who all go moose hunting, who all like talking about the same things, because there's no different thought. It's all just consensus thinking, and that is going to open you up to the competition running past you. So Eva is our first C-suite hire. She's female. Our first senior advisor is female. 2 out of our 3 external board members are female. Our ecosystem engineers coming in, female. So, and what's really interesting to see in that is actually that they in themselves have very good networks of very qualified, very good. We would never hire someone unqualified or less qualified than another candidate. It's not about that ever. But what it is about is getting access to pools of knowledge and experience that we wouldn't see otherwise, because we 4 founders are all guys in our 40s. So on the back of that, I do think that like having a diverse workplace is hugely beneficial. I know it's a kind of political contentious discussion to potentially have, but I think there are a lot of benefits to it. At least that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, not only is there a network effect with recruiting, there's a network effect with other kinds of business partnerships with potential clients. It's a it's a core strength, and it's for sure. Unfortunately, it's still it shouldn't be a differentiator, but in the mid 2020s, it still is a differentiator. I think over time, most companies are going to move to that direction where it's just an increasingly higher priority.
But at the end of the day, I think it's great to have a green business model. It's great to have a diverse workplace. But if you're not providing, and this is my experience because I was in banking and then I was working for a charity for 1.5 years, which was promoting fighting poverty through female entrepreneurship. And I wanted to try to marry the whole charity work with the business world. So I worked for a charity fundraising startup called Target Aid. And my experience there was if you're calling a company and you're not offering them a way to save money or a way to make money, the conversation becomes very short. So at our core, we want to supply the best value proposition for clients in terms of price, security, and green credentials,
without having to compromise on any of them.
Exactly.
Awesome.